Good evening and welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. The title tonight, Starmer and the BBC are trying to destroy Reform UK. And I'm asking and I'm going to prove that they're actually working together, in my opinion. This is an affront to democracy. Good afternoon. Do you agree with me? Let's get your opinions and let's get talking. I think it's an absolute disgrace what is going on at the moment. And if the BBC and if the mainstream media and if Keir Starmer and the Labour government are so confident Reform UK is wrong, why not defeat them with arguments instead of smears? Because something really interesting is happening in British politics now, and I hate it. It's the stench of hypocrisy. It's not an accident that this is happening at the moment. Nigel Farage and Reform UK are running away in the polls. I told you last week before I was poorly, Keir Starmer hasn't got a hope in hell of getting elected. So what he's trying to do now is get all of his left-wing, socialist, almost commie ideas into law, including taking us back in the EU. He's got this majority. He's doing anything he can to cling to power. He's even talking about bringing back Angela Rayner. The man is despicable. The man is only looking after himself, and the man only cares about power. Even the Labour government now, most of his ministers despise him, along with the British public. But he's going to keep pushing. But for him to push hard, he has to destroy Nigel Farage. That's why we're seeing historic allegations dragged up, insults recycled, labels like racist thrown around, often without any evidence, and all hitting the headlines at exactly the same moment. The BBC and The Guardian are almost orgasmic about these allegations from men who went to school with Nigel when he was 13 and say that he bullied them and he was racist to them. Now, I don't know whether he was, but you know what? I don't really care. He was a kid. Can you honestly say as a kid you stand by everything you thought then, or you believed, or you said, or how you acted? No. Has Farage acted like a racist since? No. Only in the minds of the woke media like the BBC and The Guardian, who can't stand him because he undermines their level of power. So when you switch on the BBC and you watch Question Time, and I'm going to tell you about Question Time because I've been on it twice, you see that Reform, again, even on Question Time, is on trial again, with the producers carefully selecting audience members challenging Reform UK's policies. Zia Yusuf got stitched up, or they tried to, but he's too much of a clever operator. So tonight I'm asking a simple question. Is this accountability, or is it an attempt to shut down a political movement before the public gets a fair hearing? You decide. And will it work? Because I don't think it will. I think the more they smear Farage like this, the more people will vote for him. I repeat the question. If they're confident, the BBC and Labour and all the other woke lovies, that Reform UK is so wrong, why not defeat them with arguments instead of smears? We got to a new low today where Chris Bryant, MP for Up the Rhondda, he's the one who ages ago put himself on Grindr, or whatever that gay dating app is, in his underpants, saying he was as horny as fuck. Has he got any moral right to lecture other people? Or maybe, like me, you take the view, that's his private life. If it didn't affect his work, I haven't really got a problem. But it's rather, isn't it, ironic? It's a bit like the pot calling the kettle black. He was in his underpants. Look it up if you don't believe me. I'm as horny as fuck. Is that the way to behave as an MP? If you like what I'm saying, press the like button. I'm going to come to your comments as well very, very soon. I'm sorry I haven't been here the last few days. I had flu or COVID or something a couple of weeks ago. And then, bloody hell, can you believe it? I went down with some kind of stomach bug on Thursday. I've been terrible for 2 or 3 days, but I'm back now, firing on all cylinders. Well, kind of. Not the way I was firing before, that's for sure. If you want to contribute, please let me hear your views now. Because is Keir Starmer, here's the questions, now treating Nigel Farage and Reform UK as the real opposition? Answer, yes. And is the BBC playing along? Answer, yes. In tonight's show, I'm going to look at the intensifying political and media attacks on Nigel Farage, as Labour figures repeatedly label Reform UK as wasteth, and extreme, while Farage's popularity and Reform's polling continues to rise. You'd think they'd wake up and smell the coffee and realise it's not working. Let's have a look at this recent revival of long-standing allegations relating to Farage's school years, claims of which he strongly denies. And that's why decades-old accusations dating back to when he was 13 are being pushed so aggressively now. I'll ask you a question. I put it up on Twitter earlier. I didn't get much of a response, but Dulwich College, the school, have they not got a record of Farage getting in trouble for having a go at Jewish pupils, if it's true? Or did you see the black guy? He was there for 9 months. He reckons he was told to get back to Africa. Now, I can understand that at the time, that might have hurt. That might have hurt. I don't know, because I'm not black. I'm in the majority, I'm white. But I don't think it's something I'd carry with me, like the Jewish guy, the TV producer who also works for the BBC. I don't think it's something I'd carry with me for 40-odd years. I'll tell you what people should be talking about is the abuse going on in care homes, or the institutional abuse going on in public schools, or in children's homes, or perhaps the white girls who have been industrially raped by Muslim Pakistani gangs in towns all over the country. Sorry. Somebody said, I mean, it's not nice, the line about the gas chambers. Of course it's not. But we don't even know if he said it, do we? And I smell a rat. And then so is it legitimate scrutiny? Or is it political smears designed to delegitimise a populist movement before we, the voters, really hear the case? And will it work? I say no. I'm also going to break down the controversial BBC Question Time episode featuring Zia Yusuf. Why did they invite at least two small boat illegal migrants to the studio audience to directly challenge Reform UK? That's not impartiality. That's pure and utterly bias. They're getting away with it now because they're calling them refugees. Because as soon as you apply for political asylum, and let's face it, they do that before the flip-flops actually touch the sand at Dover, you have to call them, you shouldn't call them illegal. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. One of those people, he had come through 6 countries before he got to us and applied in most of those countries for political asylum. So we're meant to take him seriously. And then he reads off his phone a condemnation of those of us who want to scrap the European Convention of Human Rights. Do the Jeremies, the Mirandas, the Jocelyn's of the BBC think we're that bloody stupid that we'll take this seriously? It's an absolute joke. And I'll tell you how Question Time works, because I've been on it. They don't pay you. They don't call it pay. They say, we'll make a contribution to your expenses. When I was doing it, it was 100 quid or 150 quid. Then they give you a taxi. So you haven't got any expenses. So you're getting paid 150, 100 quid. You get more on other programs, to be fair. So these guys, whether you like it or not, they were paid to go on. And when I went on, I was on the panel. So whoever I was up against, people like Hugh Grant, he knew who I was and I knew who he was. And then we had a ding-dong. But to put two of these illegal criminals, immigrants, on in the audience and not tell Zia Yusuf, he said he was told just before, the BBC dispute that. But either way, it's not playing the game. It is not playing the game. It's obvious they want, and he did lose his rag, which was a mistake. They were trying to make it, because they said, well, would you deport him? Well, that's very difficult to answer when the bloke's standing in front of you. But give him his due. Zia said yes. And I would have said yes. He has no right to be in the country. So then I ask this question to you now. Are the BBC and Labour acting independently? Is it just a coincidence that they both condemn reform? Or are they in a partnership when it comes to stopping Nigel Farage and Reform UK? Watch the rest of this and tell me whether you agree with me or not. Because I think we've got a new low. The BBC has got to be closed down. It's enough already. And then they go and do this. They haven't learnt their lesson. They're arrogant. They think they are the majority view of the British public. Well, they're clearly not. Otherwise, Reform wouldn't be leading the polls. We've got a Prime Minister who lies. I was going to say for Britain, but he doesn't. He lies for his own self-gratitude or aggrandizement. We've got a cabinet that is full of useless no marks. They're even talking back about now bringing back Angela Rayner. He's got 4 years, don't forget. He doesn't have to go to the country for 4 years if he doesn't want to. Are you willing to wait that long? I don't think we can afford to. I've said this before. I think he is now turning into a form of dictatorship. And I think he's got no right to do that. Yes, he's got the popular mandate, but people only voted for him because they were so peed off with all the other parties. But we didn't vote for the winter fuel allowance to be cut. We didn't vote for many of the things. Oh, the Green Revolution. And did you see that other stupid story? Alan, what's his name? Mike and Bernie Winters, him, Miliband. They're saying he could be the next leader. It's him or Angela, always streeting. We didn't vote for any of this bullshit, but they're pushing through their agenda. He's like a British version of Kim Rongan. Then he does his poxy little videos telling us that everything's brilliant. And just stick with Keir. Keir's taken us on the yellow brick road to fame and fortune. Oh, really? I think the man is a snivelling little shit. I think he's a traitor. And I think we need to sort this out now. And Farage, yes, I do think he'd be better than Starmer. I do. And then when you look at the other side, you've got Zara Sultana. My God, did you see her on the telly today? She wants to nationalise everything. And then you've got that idiot, Zach Polanski. His last job was enlarging women's breasts through hypnosis. Where I come from, they'd call that being a pervert, but maybe not. Maybe I've got it wrong. But it kind of sums him up because he is a right, arrogant tit, isn't he? Well, good to be back. That's my view. What's yours? Let's have them now, please. Got loads of comments coming in. I'll read them out in a minute. That all joins into the debate. And if you like what I'm talking about, press the like button. Not enough of you are doing that yet. Come on, get pressing the like button. Also, as well, feel free if you'd like to donate. I'm a bit skint now because I haven't been on for 3 or 4 days. Press the $sign if you'd like to contribute a few quid to keep these going and expand them. Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt and get your name on the roll of honours. Let's go. Let's start with this one. Tommy Mason 7631. It's Gaunty with a Smile show. Hit the like button. Yeah, well, I'm in quite a good mood. You know when you've been that rough, when you literally couldn't move without having to rush to the toilet, you suddenly feel reborn. This morning, like yesterday, I was still rough. This morning, I thought, oh, God, I feel great. Feels good. Anyway, that's why I'm smiling. They're incapable of putting up an argument. They know they are wrong, says Annette Long on Facebook. Thank you very much indeed, Annette. I agree with you. Where are we going next? Let's have a look. Strawberry Atheist says 21114 says, how's it even relevant today? I presume you're talking about Nigel when he's a kid. It isn't relevant. It isn't relevant. I've thought back long and hard as well. What things did I do? Well, when I was in a children's home, I did some pretty dreadful things. Pretty dreadful things. But I'm not the same person as I was then. And I don't think Farage is, but I don't even think Farage did this. It's too orchestrated. And that one who's always on the telly, almost crying. It's like, grow up, you Burke. You haven't been sexually abused, have you? And it's like the other one, the black kid, there for 9 months. And evidently, Farage said, go back to Africa. You couldn't make this up, could you? You literally couldn't make that up. Meanwhile, Chris Bryant's saying, I am as horny as fuck on a gay dating site in his underpants. He's now a minister of state. He used to be a vicar. That's a surprise. Let's move on. He was 13. It's crazy, says Strawberry again. Graham Fletcher. Everyone smears each other. That's just the way things are. Those in power and those looking for power smear each other. That's the way it is. I agree, Graham. And it's part of politics. It's not pleasant, though, is it? And also to bring up allegations, which are 40, 50 nearly years old, and you've got no evidence, that can't be right. And then people say, well, there is evidence because it's 21 different people saying it. Is it? I don't think that would stand up in a court of law. Do you? And then people say, well, if Farage is upset, why doesn't he sue? What's the point of suing? It just keeps the story going, although the story's doing quite well on its own. I think he was mad to bring up It Ain't Half Up Mum and Alf Garnett as kind of the hypocrisy of the BBC, especially Alf Garnett, because Alf Garnett was so obviously satire. But it ain't half, that was a distraction, Nigel. You need somebody who knows the media to be advising you. I'm available. Back to Strawberry with Nigel says it didn't happen. So it's only allegation. There's no proof. Annette says Shamina Begum was 15 when they said it's not her fault. She was just a child. But when it comes to Farage, it's totally different. Nice point. Too many weak-minded sheep still gobble up everything the BBC dish up to them. Let's take that now as the next line. I want to talk to you about the BBC. Surely I thought the BBC had knackered itself last week. How are they still going? How are they so arrogant that they could then stitch up or try to stitch up Zia Yusuf on Question Time? It's complete bias. I've been on the programme twice. You get told who the other panel members are. You don't get told who's in the audience. And believe it or not, I don't know if it's different now, you don't get any advance warning of the questions. Obviously, if you're involved in politics or journalism like I was, you can almost guess what the questions will be. But it's not fixed. Well, it certainly wasn't when I was on. And if they put somebody in the audience to stitch me up, I'd be punching somebody's lights out because that's not playing the game, metaphorically speaking. It's not playing the game, is it? And when he started reading out about the ECHR, he'd obviously been coached. So the next question is, who coached him? I tell you who the kind of producers are. You know Matthew Stadlen, who's always on GB News? He's the kind of guy who is one of the backroom researchers. I don't know whether he worked on Question Time. He certainly worked on Newsnight because I did some films for him. That's the kind of bloke with his own agenda. I'm not saying he's necessarily biased, but he's a left-leaning liberal. Your views. Nigel Britton. How come these allegations didn't come out in the 2016 referendum when Nigel Farage was at his political best? Investigate Dulwich College pre-1980s. Teachers, headmasters, child abuse coming from those who made these allegations. Is that true? I don't know about that. Caning, slapping, use of a slipper, blackboard dusters thrown, belittling, etc., etc. That's historical child abuse. Let's see the headmasters and teachers' unions apologise. Well, I just want to say I don't know if there was abuse going on at Dulwich. If you do, fine. I don't, so please be careful. But I got belittled at school. In fact, one of the guys, he used to chuck a board rubber at us. Right, his name was Pritchard. He was Welsh, brilliant rugby player, smoked like a chimney, geography teacher. He could say "Gaunt" and you'd shit yourself as the board rubber came to you, and then he'd smack on your head. Right, you ended up at the end of the lesson looking like Dickie Davis with that white streak in your hair. But he was a bloody good teacher. Do I hold it against him now? No. Do I see him often? Yes. Do we laugh about it? Yes. It was a different time. A different time. Let's have your opinions, please. Oh, no, John, I'm not looking that up. I'll throw up. Thank you very much indeed. James R.C. Irvin, there's no such thing as COVID, it's flu. Oh, shut up, James. We're not going down that conversation, that cul-de-sac. What I had the other week was COVID, the new form of it, and I was bloody rough. All right? So shut up. You're being stupid. What's this? He's bringing Ange back to keep the unions on his side. Yes, he'd bring back Harold Shipman if he thought it would keep him in power. The man is an absolute disgrace. And as I said in my podcast a couple of weeks ago now, or about 10 days or something, I said, he's turning into a dictator. He knows he'll never get elected again, so he's got to push the agenda now. What's your views? David KT, I found it strange that they want Shamina Begum back in the UK because she was only 15 when they claimed she was brainwashed, that Nigel, if true, was only 13, but he gets nailed. David, why are you surprised? The real villain isn't Shamima Begum. The real villain aren't people who shout Ali's snack bar as they blow up people in nightclubs or in kids watching concerts. They're not idiots who go in with a knife and kill 3 little girls in Southport. No, they're not the enemy. The enemy are the patriots like Nigel Farage. The enemy isn't the thousands of people who have turned up at Dover Beach in their flip-flops with their mobile phones and their leather jackets. No! The enemy are not white necessarily, working-class women who object to these men being housed in hotels like the Bell Hotel in Epping. They're the enemy because they're all far right, aren't they? What a load of bollocks. I'm not saying that everybody who comes into the country in a dinghy is a rapist or is a terrorist, but can you tell me, hand in heart, none of them are? That's the problem, isn't it? Southeast Patriot, he just said vote Advance UK. Well, good on you, mate. Did it make you feel good? Get a tingle in your underpants. Why don't you say something more than that? Because that's not really adding to the debate. Sorry, but that's my view. Where are we now? Tukir here is bricking it, so they're lying to try and save their jobs. I think they've all lost the plot. Well, I think your last comment is right. They have, because no matter what they do, He's not going to convince people that actually he was right and we've all been wrong. We can see the evidence with our own eyes. It's pathetic. They've been dreadful. They're not even like sixth formers. They've got in power by saying they're the adults back in the room and they've effed up everything they've touched. Are you with me or against me? Good afternoon, John. Good to see you back and feeling better. The BBC are as corrupt as their Christmas TV offerings this year. Thank you. Now that's better, Southeast Patriot. He says, Farage, the plastic patriot, champagne socialist, lying conman. Well, would that be because you support Advance UK? Oh, I think it would be, because look, now you've posted 3 or 4 more times that you support Advance. Listen, I've got nothing against Ben Habib, but if you keep posting crap like that, I'm just going to ban you because you're boring and thick. Say it loud. Clear illegal immigrants. Welcome, just not on our street, says Gavin Cardy. I don't understand what that means, Gavin. Illegal immigrants aren't welcome at all. Full stop. End of. Immigration, well controlled, managed. I'm all for. In fact, I'm definitely in favour of. What I object to is the flip-flop warriors. Where are we going next? Right. Southeast Patriot, you got one more warning and then you're going. Labour are that stupid that backbenchers think we will accept Miliband back. Yeah, you're right, Red Rock 1907 on YouTube. He would be a worse dictator than Starmer. You are correct. Reggie, where's that one? John, please always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, good point. Farage won't mass deport. No, he won't, because it's a ridiculous thing. The only people that need deporting are the illegal immigrants, not everybody, you Burke. And there you see, you prove just how thick you are by coming out with statements like that. You give the lefties all the ammo they need. You're far right, they'll say. You need to be a bit more subtle than that. He's losing the Muslim vote to the Your Party and others. He needs her back to keep it, as they all have her backing. You're talking about bringing back Angela Rayner. I'd like to see him try and pull that one off for the British public. That's going to go down like a pork pie at a bar mitzvah, isn't it? Huh? He thinks we're thick. He thinks we can be ignored. He only tries to appeal to that narrow voting section. In Islington, probably. I don't know. Red Rock 1907, thank you very much indeed. He's just donated £5 on YouTube in the form of a super sticker. What he's done is he's clicked on that $sign, which you can all see, and he's donating a £5 to the cause. Thank you very much indeed. It's very much appreciated. If you'd like to do it, simple. Click there and donate whatever you fancy. If you'd like to do it via www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt, just go to that link. The link's in the bio and everything else, and give the money there. Either way, I need the cash. Mike and Bernie Winters, says Andy Borg. Yeah, that's right. That was the illusion. Thank you. Rob Hambridge. Afternoon, John. Afternoon. Patrick Monahan, because that's how fake they are. Just like Americans. This is politicians for you. Thank you. Liam Bream, join reform for a taste of the norm. I quite like that, actually. Where are we next? We need a general election. Well, yes, we do, but we're not going to get one. So what do you suggest we do in the meantime? Huh? Because he's just going to force through these policies. He's on a wrecking spree. Yeah? Taking all the money off the decent silent majority to pay for the freeloaders, the feckless, the foreigners who have just arrived at Dover, and the feckless. That's what he's doing with your cash. That is what he's doing. And he doesn't give an SH1T what you think about it. Not one bit. So let's just pause and reset for a moment, because this is important. I'm not saying people shouldn't be challenged. Not at all. And no one on here is saying politicians are above scrutiny. Of course not. What I'm questioning is why these particular allegations from decades ago are being revived now, just as the Reform UK is surging and just as Labour is dying on its arse and struggling to connect with voters. You'd have to be thick not to realise what's happening. I'm also questioning why so much of that scrutiny seems to flow in one direction, while other parties and figures get a free pass. Zara Sultana was on Laura Kunsberg this morning. I don't know if you saw it. Not a word she said made sense. Did she get challenged? Did she? Buggery. Zach, the latest Polanski. I'd trust Roman Polanski with babysitting my kids more than Zach Polanski with the economy of this country. The guy hasn't got a clue, but he looks like the BBC and the mainstream media think he's the future. God help us. So it shouldn't be just about personalities. It's about fairness. It's about media power and whether voters are being nudged towards a conclusion rather than making up your own minds. That's what I'm talking about tonight. And I guess that's why you're watching. But how do we stop this nonsense? Lyndon saying we need a general election. You're not going to get one. Liam Bream, I don't know what you're going on about, ting tong, but if you make another ridiculous comment, you can get banned as well. Simple to do. You've done some dreadful things, John, like buying that shirt from Temu. Nothing wrong with this shirt, mate, if you've got the confidence and the personality to pull it off, which I clearly have. But you could, no, the only thing, well, we all know what you could pull off, and it wouldn't be this shirt, would it? Thank you for your comments. Craig Mawson. Hi, John. The guy that was reading off his phone, it looked like he had an earpiece in. Yeah, I saw that as well. I don't know whether he did, but it makes you wonder. It does make you wonder. Hypnosis to enlarge breasts. I enlarge mine just drinking 7 bottles of Nuki Brown every night, says Tommy Sharp. Tell me about it, Tommy. Thank you for your comments. No, see, right, Liam Bream, you're just boring, mate. You're not even funny. Where are we next? Advance UK aren't ready. Reform is the first step towards democracy again, says Simon. The MSM and the government are so obsessed with smearing him, there is no level they will not stoop to. But it has the opposite effect. I think you're right. And then he says, people are not stupid. Correct. Red Rock 1907, thank you for your donation, by the way. I was involved in stupid things years ago. Now at the age of 63, I'm a huge difference away from that person as I've matured and grown up through having kids and grandkids, and they must come first. I mean, this is the other problem. They're saying, well, why doesn't just Nigel just apologise? Well, one, he would have had to do it in the first place. But okay, let's go down that route. What if Nigel did do this? And I don't know either way. What do you think would happen if Nigel said, I've been thinking about this more and more. And when I was at Dulwich College, when I was 13, I was horrid. And I did say a couple of things that are wrong. I'd like to apologise. He'd be all over the front page of The Guardian, which no one reads, the Daily Mirror, which is hardly in business, but all over Channel 4, the BBC, Farage, I am a racist. That's what will happen. So they've got him either way. It's just nonsense. I can't say the line I really want to say because I've got a very funny line, but I'm not going to say it. It's a bit rude. If I was Nigel, I'd just say, where's the proof? In court, it would just be called hearsay. Completely. Maybe time to look into Starmer, Rainey, Lammy, their childhoods at school. Yeah, but you know what, Ton Wobble? I just don't want to go there. I want to talk about the politics of today. Who's going to get our country out of this bloody mess? Because Starmer isn't. Wizard Sleeve 6049 on YouTube. Starmer sucks. I mean, by that, I suppose you mean he's not a very nice person. Couldn't mean anything else, could it? Starmer and the BBC are scumbags, says Melvin Bobbs. As we thought, it was hilarious, says Strawberry. I don't know what you're talking about. Advance UK and Restore Britain. Join both now. You obviously haven't got the idea of this show. The idea of the show isn't you come on and try and get more people to join your political party, because that's not really adding to the debate, is it? John, I was generalising about what happened at all schools of that area, not necessarily Dulwich. Sorry, Nigel, I understand where you were coming from. I do apologise. Ben Habib for number 10 says Shake a Break. He came. I can't read some of these names. Farage is a lying shill. Oh, but that hurts him. He cacking 4108. Haven't you got anything positive to say? Colin Woodward just says John. Fair enough. Annette says Starmer will make sure this country is in a ditch before allows anyone to remove him. Straight from the narcissist playbook. Thank you very much indeed. This idiot who keeps slagging off Farage. Do your research on Farage, John Gaunt. Why don't you? And set up your own YouTube channel if you're so confident of your beliefs. Now, shut up now. You've had enough attention. Stop doing a dying fly on the supermarket floor and grow up. Ladies and gentlemen, the grand old Duke of York, Mr. Nigel Farage. I don't really understand that, but there we are. Glad you're back, John. I just managed to see you are live. Yeah, sorry I didn't give you much notice. I wanted to make sure I could actually do it without sitting on a B-day. Not a B-day. What do you call it? A commode. I've done a show like that at one point. Hi, John. Why are lunatic head teachers allowing McFadden into primary schools in Bilston, West Midlands, spouting Labour lies and politicising our very young? Yeah, I saw him today on telly. Makes my skin crawl. Advance getting a lot of good publicity today. Advance UK is the only way. I'm a proud member. So proud you don't even use your real name on YouTube. But thank you for your comment. Oh, shut up, you. I'm not going back to you. It's Biden, part 2. The tactics of the left is something we knew was coming. Attack the man, not the policy. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, what's this one say? Mein Kampf was horrific, and the ideology running government is worse. I don't know what you're on about, mate. That doesn't make sense. Try that again in English, if you could, please. Whatever. The BBC, Starmer, Khan, the establishment, MSM, or any other idiot say right or do vote reform. Ignore them and their propaganda on the run-up to any election. Just vote reform. Thank you. I'd love to see Diane Abbott back on the front bench, says David KT. Yeah, we could do with a laugh, couldn't we? Especially, shut up, John. Military action needed. This is tyranny and treason for the sake of the UK, children and veterans. Thank you. They are going to incite violence. This is a serious point, Annette. I'm glad you made it. They're going to incite violence against reform voters and Farage if they carry on pushing this way. I agree. And Nigel Britton, you make a very good point. Anyone wants to Google Harriet Harman and the paedophile information exchange, PI, because that was from the same era. That's a very good point. Farage should have come back with that. Yeah, there was a time when certain now leading Labour people thought that paedophilia was the same as homosexuality, which of clearly it isn't. And there was this thing called the PIE, Paedophile Information Exchange. And there was an organisation, it's now called Liberty, but it used to be called NACRO, I think. I may have got that wrong. And if I have, I apologise. But they actually advocated for pedo scumbags not to be criminals. Farage should say, well, how many of Labour grandees and indeed existing people now supported the aims of PI? Think that through. Just for a moment, though, also, we seem to have lost the BBC in this debate. How is the BBC getting away with gerrymandering? And that's what they're doing. The audience. I've never heard of that on Question Time before. Yes, I know they tried to get a balance, but as Yusuf said, getting at least two people who shouldn't even be in the bloody country to be in the audience. And then, there's a surprise. Fiona Bruce goes to them. And the BBC's defence was, well, there were 20 questions asked. They make it out as if that's random. Let me tell you what happens. They all give their questions in, and the producers decide which questions. Now, they don't tell the panel. So I thought that part of it was fair. But Fiona Bruce, before she goes to anyone, I'm not having a go at her, by the way, she's got a difficult job there. She knows almost what they're going to say because the producers have already pre-interviewed the people, although it looks like in this case, they'd actually briefed them. This is wrong. If they want to have an illegal migrant, a criminal on the programme, be brave and put them on the panel. Say, yeah, we've got these politicians and we've got a really interesting person tonight, somebody who came to Britain on a small boat. That would be fair and reasonable, and that would be interesting to hear their experiences, wouldn't it? I'm not sure Question Time is the right format for that, but putting them in an audience where suddenly they can get out their Moby and start slagging off our great nation. What the fuck do you want to come here if you're going to do that? No, no, no. Just my views. What's your views? Let's take a few and then finishing. They're already Antifa thugs camping outside reform events. Have they got nothing better to do? It's not going to happen, John. We hate the BBC and most people hate Starmer. Yeah, I think it's gone too far. I would agree with you. Harriet Harman backed the idea to lower the age of consent to 12 or less. Did she? Thatcher was in favour of that as well at one point, wasn't he? Doesn't mean they're paedophiles, just the philosophy of it, because don't forget, in different countries, the legal age is different. But I think our age is about right, don't you? Well, it is right. Nigel's a very experienced politician. It'll take more than the BBC and Labour to knock him off his perch. I'm finishing in a moment, guys. Is anybody else going to donate today? Or are you making me work for nothing, even though I've been on my sick bed all week? Come on. Click the $sign. Make yourself a hero. Do something you can be proud of today. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. I will be here tomorrow night at 6. I've moved the show back to 6. Okay. I'm an army veteran, says Red Rock again, who has donated. Having seen a previous comment, just want to say I needed money years ago, desperate for help, and it did not come from the government, but from the Veterans Charity. It says it all on the two parties, doesn't it? You are right. Dave, 3893, YouTube. How do they remember what Farage said? I cannot remember anything you said at Hill Farm while you were at school with me. I better be careful what I